Today I want to talk to you about why waiting for perfection is holding your personal brand back. Let me ask you, are you overthinking every detail which prevents you from making decisions or taking action? Is the fear of making mistakes stopping you from even starting, robbing you of your success? Well, I want to talk to you today about the perfectionism trap. And I've got some bullet points in front of me I'm going to refer to just to keep me on track because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here. Your time is important. I understand that. I feel that way when I get on a video and somebody starts rambling. I don't have time for that, so I don't expect you to. So I will refer to my bullet points here, and I think what I've got to share with you today is going to be liberating, and I think it'll be helpful. So the thing I want to talk about really is building a personal brand and the perfectionism trap, and how those two things, how the perfectionism trap is like a parasite or a cancer, and it keeps your personal brand from ever being what it could be. Building a personal brand is deeply personal. It's your story, it's your voice, it's your values. It's packaged and presented to be given to the world. And the stakes feel incredibly high because you're putting yourself out there, and the pressure to make everything flawless before you show up is understandable, but ultimately paralyzing. And so the thing about that is that perfectionism, though often seen as a virtue, is one of the biggest roadblocks to progress. It's rooted in fear, the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment, the fear of making a mistake, the fear of falling short, and the list of fears can go on and on and on. But the irony is that while perfectionism disguises itself as a quest for excellence, it often leads to inaction. It robs you of opportunities to grow, to learn, to connect with other people, because we're really too self-absorbed in what people are going to think and really what we're thinking. And so why perfect, the word perfect, is the enemy of progress? Well, the thing about perfect or perfection is it's unattainable. It doesn't really exist. No matter how much time you spend polishing your brand or your product or whatever you're working on, there will always be something that could be improved. The truth is perfection doesn't exist. What does exist is progress, and progress only happens when you start and when you push the publish button or when you put something out there. Then the thing about it, and something we don't often think about, is the market rewards authenticity. People resonate with real, not perfect. They resonate with the flaws. They resonate with people they can relate to. And they don't want to see unapproachable, flawless personas. They want to see the human behind the brand. And they want to see you. They don't want to see some facade that gets created. They want to be able to connect. And sharing your imperfections builds trust and relatability. Now, when you create a personal brand like this, people get the opportunity to know you, to like you, and trust you. And so when you put out a piece of content, then they are going to listen. And so when people know, like, and trust you, you create an audience, people that are going to follow you, that are going to purchase your digital products or whatever you're offering. Now, the thing to remember is that every expert started somewhere. And those polished brands that you see and that you admire, that you see on YouTube and on Instagram and TikTok and all of those things, you got to really stop and think about the production that goes into that. And it's not realistic. And the thing about it is, and something I want to encourage you to do, is to go and look at a channel on YouTube, someone that you follow that's been maybe doing it for 5 or more years, that's got a couple hundred videos, and go back to their first videos and look at them and look at what they looked like. They didn't start that way, the way they look today. They started just like you are. And many of those people, while the content was good, it wasn't polished. And a lot of those channels aren't talking about the same thing they were talking about 5 years ago or whenever they started. They're not talking about that today. They've transitioned, they've pivoted, and they've grown. And so, but the thing about it is that they learned as they went. They started, they published, and they put themselves out there. And so overcoming the fear of imperfection is important. And if you've been stuck in the imperfection trap or the perfection trap, it's time to shift your mindset. And it really is a mindset. And I want to share with you 5 practical strategies to help you move forward and to change that mindset. First thing is you've got to redefine success. And Albert Einstein said, try not to be a man of success, but a man of value. And so stop measuring success by unattainable standards of perfection. Don't equate it to a dollar or money, or you hear people say, I just need, my goal is to make $10,000 a month. And so it's part of the perfection trap. And so what you want to do is focus on creating content that is helpful to people, that will help them solve a problem, instead of focus on smaller actionable steps, things like putting out a micro book. And as I mentioned, I'm putting out a micro book. It's called the Trust Factor, and it's not like all the other things I've tried to put together. This one will actually be out. I have set a deadline for the 18th of January, and so if you're interested in a copy or interested in being notified, put Trust Factor down in the comment section. But you want to create goals that are small and attainable, like launching a digital product, or your first blog post, or gaining your first subscriber. And the thing about it, the thing about it is that you need to tell yourself, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to show up today. And so the next thing is you want to embrace imperfection as a strength. Your imperfections are a part of your brand. They make you human, relatable, memorable, and people can relate to that because they make mistakes too, and they can see if you're stumbling or making a mistake, then it's okay for them to do that, and it really is. Share the struggles, the lessons, and the behind the scenes moments. You'll be surprised at how much your audience will appreciate that. For example, this channel is 10 years old. I just have a handful of videos out now. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but I deleted all the videos I had. I had maybe about 20. And I think for posterity purposes, I wished I had left them. But I don't know, I just wanted to start fresh. And, that was my thinking about a month ago when I deleted those videos. So, but I'm starting over again. I'm starting from scratch. And so, I'm going to share my struggles and my lessons and things I'm learning. And what I'm sharing with you and teaching are things that I have learned. And so I want to in turn share what I've learned. And you want to set deadlines and stick to them. As I mentioned, I have a deadline of launching that product, the Trust Factor, on January 18th. And that is a personal promise to me. And perfectionism has no limits. If I said in about a week would never show up. But I have set a hard date. It's the 18th, and I'm going to make that happen. So when that day arrives, I'm going to hit the publish button, and even if it feels uncomfortable, and I want to encourage you to do the same thing. And you want to start small. You don't need a massive launch or a perfectly curated strategy to begin. And so there's a term I've heard over the years, and I've just recently, within the last year, started to really embrace it, and it's minimum effective dose. MED. And so you want to take your meds, minimum effective doses. And so what that means is that in this micro book that I'm going to be launching on January 18th, it is a minimum effective dose. In other words, it's not it's not a exhaustive list of creating a personal brand. It is the bare essentials. It is the necessities. It's designed to be microbytes to make big changes, microbytes or microbits of information to make big changes in people creating their personal brand. And so it doesn't mean that I only gave it 50%. I've given it 110%. What it means is I'm not sitting there nitpicking it and trying to perfect it as I go along. So progress, not perfection, is the goal here. And then you want to seek feedback and not approval. And so, one of the reasons we strive for perfection is the fear of criticism. Instead of seeking approval, invite constructive feedback. It'll help you grow and improve over time. And so it's a process. You come into this, and it's just like anything. You get into sports, you're going to stumble and trip a lot until you've done it a few times. Like basketball, you start shooting hoops, and it takes a while to get good at it, and you see these people doing crazy things like, throwing a ball over their back at half court and making it every time. Well, they didn't start out that way. And so, we've got to start shooting hoops and, getting better and working on it and learning from our mistakes and learning how to do things right. And it is a process. So I want to encourage you to enjoy it, enjoy the journey, enjoy learning, and, fail forward, as they say. So what happens when you let go of perfection? Well, what happens is you realize and accept that there's no such thing as perfection. And I want you to remember that there is no such thing as perfection. And when you get caught up in trying to make things just right, let it go. At that point, you just need to let it go. And people are not going to key in on the typos or the words that you've misspoke. People are not going to be keying in on, the mistakes. Like, I've made several mistakes in this video, and I don't believe that that's what people are going to be keying in on. And so I think what people are going to be really resonating with, and I hope that it's my hope with this video, is that people are seeing that a personal brand is really a cool thing, and that anybody and everybody has one, and they can go out and share it. Your audience isn't looking for perfection. They're looking for a connection. And so I want to give you the permission to be imperfect. And if you're waiting to be perfect, or for that perfect moment to start building your personal brand, this is your permission to begin. You don't need a flawless website or a perfect video or a perfectly curated Instagram feed, or a perfectly clear elevator pitch. What you need is the willingness to show up, the willingness to start, the willingness to push the publish button. And you'll make mistakes. Just know it. Many years ago, I bought a mountain bike, and I had a buddy who's very experienced in bikes go with me. And we went into the Trek store, and I was specking out my bike, and he said, "You're going to get clip-on pedals." And I said, "No, I don't want them. I wanted those pedals with the little thing you put your shoe in, the cup." And he said, "No, you're going to get clips." And he says, and the thing you need to know is you will fall. So I got clips, and I fell. Well, the falls over the years as I bike ride have gotten farther and farther and few between. And I've learned how to fall better. So, you are going to make mistakes, and there'll be moments when you cringe at your early work or even cringe at mistakes you make today. But every stumble is a step forward, and every misstep is a chance to learn. And so go in it knowing that you're going to make mistakes, that you're going to fall. And you learn how to make mistakes. You learn how to accept them. The world doesn't need perfect. The world needs you. It needs your unique perspective, your voice, your story. And so I just want to leave you with a couple actionable takeaways. And the first thing I want you to do is write down one task you've been putting off, and because it wasn't ready or it wasn't perfect. And set a timer to work on that task or that project for 30 minutes without judgment. And when the timer ends, commit to finishing it in the next 48 hours and without any tweaking or second guessing. And it's kind of what I've started doing with my videos. This video, I'll go through and I'll do some small edits, cut out some long pauses, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do any redos. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm going to get the editing done and get it published. I do use a green screen. I'm sitting in a small room in my house. I don't have a studio. So I'm making use of what I've got. I'm not using a fancy camera. I'm using a camera on top of my monitor. And I've got nice cameras. I've got equipment I bought over the years. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've never, ever been brave enough to put my personal brand out there like I am today. So, the thing about it is, just don't over edit, no more tweaking, just put it out there. And the only thing that stands between you and your personal brand that you dream of is the belief that it has to be perfect. So I want to encourage you to start now and let your journey refine you. God bless you. I'll see you in the next video. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.